Okie dokie. So, welcome back to another episode of, what is the game we're playing? Ever 17, The Out of Infinity. And we're finishing up Koko's Route, which is essentially the entire game. We're playing as Kid, and big spoilers ahead if you haven't, been following along. Here's the things that have happened. So, things are starting to come together, and we think that we know ourselves until we face ourselves in the mirror. That's right, we aren't the brown-haired kid that we once thought we were this whole time. Instead, we're a slightly older-looking blonde boy. And now we're switching between Takeshi's perspective, which is the green text box, and this new boy's perspective, which is a blue text box. And thrown in there sometimes is a gray text box. We do not know anything about the gray text box. But it seems to be that the moments are converging, and it seems like there's an indicator of like that little blip across the screen that tells you when you're switching perspectives, as well as the color of the text box. So other things to note, Sarah made a dietary choice of eating a whole head of lettuce with a zigzag of ketchup on it, and I think the isolation down under has made everybody go wacky. So let's continue this adventure. I think we're just here. Okay. So after that, Sarah and I headed to the conference room. We didn't have any specific objective in mind. Actually, we made for the conference room precisely because we didn't have any objective. I don't know if this is a skippable thing, so... Nope, it's not. Okay. It wasn't that anyone had said we would meet there. Somehow it just became our meeting place and hangout. We were all there. Sora Takeshi teased me, saying that the night before it had flailing around like a crab on its back. They said that I had worried them, but they thought I seemed better. It was almost exactly the same thing I had heard from Sarah. They asked why I had gone crazy when I saw the mirror, and I avoided giving them a clear-cut answer. I didn't think that I could get them to understand a situation as complex as that just by telling them the real reason up front. It appeared that Takeshi and Sora were satisfied with my evasive explanation, and then small talk started. Strangely, we only talked idly, gossiping about things and not touching on Limu at all. We talked about the best movies we'd seen, and why whales stranded themselves on the beach in groups, and what the truth behind the assassination of JFK was, as well as whether forks or chopsticks were better. Wow, this is a gamut. This is definitely a gamut of conversation. Anyway, topics changed often, and then we talked about a wide range of things, from the serious to the silly. In short, we were just killing time. We tried to fill in the time by keeping our mouths moving. I didn't participate much in the conversation, just kind of nodding off from time to time, laughing along with everyone. It wasn't that I was necessarily thinking about anything else. I just thought of it as all a painless way to kill time. In the group, there was one other person who was just as quiet as myself, even more so, since she didn't open her mouth once. And it was Tsugumi. Tsugumi looked as furious as ever. She had constantly dissatisfied look, making it seem as if she'd been dissatisfied from the day she was born and probably destined to stay that way. I figured if she was that annoyed, she shouldn't come to where everybody had gathered, but of course I couldn't say that to her. Tsugumi glanced at me at a rate of once every 2 minutes. I counted. In the afternoon 2 days before, May 1st, she had been short with me. She had told me not to talk to her. However, her looking at me about once every 2 minutes was totally at odds with those words and seemed like a sign saying, "Speak with me." Her glances unnerved me, and I was unable to focus my attention on the conversation. Eventually, the 4 others got tired of talking, and gradually the conversation slowed down. Finally, the talking ground to a halt completely. 5 hours had passed since we had first come to the conference room. It was 5:19 p.m. Everybody's quiet. Everyone was silent. Yu rested her chin on her hands and watched a plant in the corner of the room. Sarah put her face on the table and closed her eyes. Takeshi stood by the window and stared at the ocean. Sora wasn't there. She had gone back to the control room. Tsugumi had just stood up. She headed towards the exit. She touched the panel to the door to open and close the door. And just before she left the room, she looked at me again. It bothered me. I couldn't let it not bother me. After a while, Tsugumi had gone out. I'm going to the bathroom. Saying that to everyone, I followed Tsugumi. Following the sound of water splashing, and I soon followed Tsugumi. She was walking ahead of me in a curved corridor. I ran to Tsugumi and asked her, "Hey, why did you keep looking at me?" Tsugumi didn't stop walking. She didn't even look at me. I stepped ahead of her and stood in her way. "You were shooting sideways glances at me, right? And you glanced at me when you left the conference room. So what?" Well, yes, I was looking at you. But you watched me as well, didn't you? If not, you wouldn't have noticed my glance." "You're right. So we're even. But you started watching me first. Is that a problem?" "No problem, but what, are you afraid that you'll turn into a pillar of salt if someone looks at you?" "No." "Fine then." Saying that, Tsugumi started to walk. I blocked her way, holding out my arm. "Wait a minute. Don't change the subject. What I want to know is the reason why you were glancing at me." "Do I need a reason?" "Do you need a reason to look at someone?" "You're trying to change the topic again. Then why are you asking me such a stupid question?" "Because I want to know." "To know what?" "About you, Tsugumi." "Tsugumi, you want to say something to me, don't you?" Tsugumi looked down. She dragged her legs slightly on the ground behind her. There were ripples spread across the open surface of the water. Tsugumi's eyes absently followed the directions that the ripples spread in. She looked up. We stared at each other. Tsugumi pushed her hair back softly with her little finger and said, "I have many things I want to say, but I can't say them yet." She spoke in a mild, calm tone. "Hey, Tsugumi, why do you keep trying to hide so many things? You can't trust us yet?" "No." "Then why did you help us with the repairs when the flooding accident happened today?" "I didn't help you." "What?" "I did the repairs and everyone else helped me." "You can look at it any way you want. It's not important. What is important is that you tried to help us anyway, right?" "Yes." Tsugumi said it simply. "I just don't trust you guys. It's not that I have a grudge against you. It's nothing special about helping someone during an emergency, is there? I don't care what happens to myself, but I just can't sit around doing nothing when somebody is going to die, especially in circumstances like this." It was an unexpected answer. Little by little, Tsugumi might have been seeing our side of things. "Okay. I'll ask you a different question. You show yourself around often even though you're saying that you don't trust us, right? If you doubt us, you don't have to hang out with us. You can act on your own. Tsugumi, you actually want to be buddies with us, don't you?" I was kind of taking a gamble. If she had answered back like something like, "Fine, if that's what you want, I'll never show you my face again," then that would have been the end of things. I waited for her reaction. Tsugumi laughed. She kept shaking her head and laughing hard. "What's so funny?" "Because you said buddy. We're not school kids, you know. I'm much older than you think." Tsugumi covered her mouth as she kept laughing. "Hey, stop laughing. I'm being serious." "If I'm wrong, then what is it? If you don't want to be buddies with us, then why do you keep coming to where everybody is?" "Do you really want to know?" "Yeah. I can tell you if you want, but I want you to answer this question in exchange. Do you know about Jewel chocolate?" What? Okay. Oh, what's what? Jewel chocolate. Oh my god. Okay. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right, because any false answer, even if it's about Jewel chocolate, could screw me. I should have had this up, my bad. Wow, things are really heating up in the final hours of this game. I guess I'm gonna lie and say I know about it. I don't know what the hell Jill chocolate is, but it sounds good. I hope it's actually good. I know about it. Yeah, it's a kind of chocolate bar, right? A toy ring comes with it as an extra surprise. Oh, I wonder if that's like a Kinder Egg type thing. Anyway. Right. There are 34 types of toy rings in total. If you want to collect all of the rings, then you have to keep buying the chocolate. But don't you think that's a little odd? The relationship is backwards here. Really, the chocolate should be the primary reason for buying it, and the ring should be secondary. But for people who collect rings, the chocolate is kind of a secondary benefit. So you mean the chocolate becomes something extra after the rings? That's right. But so what? What does it have to do with what we were talking about? Don't you get it? I tilted my head. The primary reason I go to everybody is not to see them. Sugumi stopped talking. Her smile was gone from her face. She stared at me with a serious look. It was a tense look. Just looking at her deep, dark-colored eyes, I felt as if I were about to be absorbed. I couldn't look away. I couldn't even budge. My body was stiff like a pillar of salt. I'm just collecting rings. The chocolate is an added benefit. As she said that, I didn't know why, but she suddenly touched my ear. She traced the outline of my ear and pinched my earlobe tenderly, and in that moment, my body burst into fragments. I didn't remember what happened after that. I just found myself in the middle of the corridor, standing in a daze. Sugumi had disappeared at some point. I'm just collecting rings. Sugumi's voice echoed in my head. Oh, 7:10 p.m. What happened there? Who knows? Who can say? Kid doesn't really have the best perspective on most things at this point. Okay. Well, I wobbled back to the conference room. Oh, okay. This is a special illustration of Sarah holding you. It's actually not bad. It's pretty nice. Considering you is my least favorite design, but it's fine. When I entered the room, only you and Sarah were there. They were lying on the table and breathing as if they were asleep. Their legs were facing me. I could almost see their underwear. You fucking goddamn this game. But I wasn't interested in it. Thank you. We have character development. He is no longer interested in the underwear, people. Not interested. Pretending not to be interested, I walked around the table and shook Yu's body slightly. And now Yu's awful eye is open. This is a bad drawing. This became a somewhat good drawing and turned into a very bad drawing suddenly. Anyway. Yu opened her eyes, rubbing one of them with her hand. Hey, kid, welcome back. You'll catch cold sleeping in a place like this. I'm alright. Mayo's body is so warm. Saying that, Yu hugged Sarah's body tightly. Sarah said something in delirium, but she didn't seem to wake up. I figured they both had to be tired. What about Takeshi? I think he went to the merry-go-round? You mean the merry-go-round with the dolphins? What other merry-go-round is there? Are there more merry-go-rounds here? Oh my god. Yeah. That's what he said before he left. Did he go alone? As I asked, I realized that I had already known the answer. Sora was in the control room and I had met Sugumi a minute ago. Yu and Sarah were holding each other like koalas in front of me. He went alone. Yu answered me. Alright then. Can you let me sleep now? I'm having a nice time. Having a nice time? You might have been half in a dream. She closed her eyes slowly. I went up the emergency stairs and headed to the merry-go-round. I thought briefly that it would be nice to go to sleep between you and Sarah. Unfortunately, I wasn't sleepy at all. Besides, I was curious about what Takeshi was doing at the merry-go-round. If I remember correctly, Takeshi had been sitting on a dolphin earlier in the day as well. Sarah had told me that. I wondered if riding on the merry-go-round alone was fun. It was something fun for him. Takeshi was kind of freaky. I don't know why we're alluding to Takeshi being a ghost in this, but okay. Hold on a sec. Okay. I'm the king of the dolphin kingdom. I can imagine Takeshi having fun by himself. But if he wasn't there for his amusement, then I wanted to know the reason why he was going to the merry-go-round as often. If we remember in other playthroughs, he's with Sora, but she is invisible, so we can't see him with another person. He's just crazy looking. Anyway, I was itching to find out the truth, and that's why I didn't mind climbing up 17 meters of stairs. I came out on the straight corridor, and after a while I could see a door on the left side. There was a dolphin merry-go-round through the door. The door had been left open. I sneaked into the room, trying not to make a sound. Takeshi was there. He was alone, as I expected. Takeshi was all alone. Where are you? Hey, you! Oh, come on, what is this? He was wandering around in front of the merry-go-round as he screamed nonsense. It was as if he were chasing something invisible. No duh. He might have thought that he was chasing butterflies over the flower garden. That's what it looked like to me. You've known it all along, right? There's no way I can catch you. No matter how hard I try, I can't catch you. Takeshi was talking to a fake dolphin, tropical fish, and seaweed. There was obviously something wrong with him. He was sicker than I imagined. There was no time to laugh. I was paralyzed with fear. I didn't even have the presence of mind to feel sorry for him. He's gone crazy because he's locked up in a place like this. We didn't even notice, but somewhere along the line he just snapped. Is something wrong? Are you worn out? Nothing bad's happened, has it? It seemed that Takeshi was worried about the dolphins. I clasped my hands together as if in prayer pose. I decided to leave without saying anything. I decided to pretend that I hadn't seen it and keep it to myself. I started walking towards the exit. As the distance between myself and Takeshi grew, I couldn't hear what he said. Only one thing reached me. Clone law? And that's when my vision twisted crazily. Wait, maybe the attack hit before his voice did? I didn't know, but in any case I lost my sense of balance. I couldn't tell what was up or down. It was such a sudden change that it threw me. I felt an urge to vomit and a headache. Who are you? Who am I? It was my voice, but it wasn't mine. I lost consciousness. I crashed to the floor. Was it me that fell, or was it someone else that wasn't me? I felt myself sinking into the ground. I was sinking, or was the floor trying to swallow me? I didn't know. Clone law? Clone law? CLONELAW? CLONELAW. I can't spell, apparently. My bad. Clone law. I melted into the pure white darkness. Oh, it zipped over. I think we are Takeshi now. I'm gonna put on a hoodie. Alright. Takeshi says, Clone law? Every single time, it's just fucking funny. Yes, the clone law! And now Sora's in front of us because, of course, Takeshi can see Sora. Is this a skippable thing? Have we seen this? Yes, okay, so now we're learning about clone law. Anyway. Do you know why that is? Tell me if this is basically it. The me on path A that you're talking about is one of the branches of the Y, and the me on path B is on the other branch. So, okay. Hopefully you guys have remember this from months ago when I had this playthrough, but they were talking about clone law and just like the idea of splitting timelines in a way. Anyway, to make it easier to understand, let's say that this is all two-dimensional or on a flat plane. In this case, both my A and B cells would be two-dimensional beings. And two-dimensional beings, they wouldn't have an accurate awareness of their two-dimensional world at any time. Just like a person in a three-dimensional world can't keep track of all 6 sides of a die in real time. That means... Let's see. Dang, I lost my train of thought. In other words, basically, it means this. The person at the end of the Y and the person at the other end of the Y can't really be aware of each other in real time. In order to know what's happening at the other end of the Y, you'd have to extract yourself from the two-dimensional plane and view the Y from a three-dimensional space. So that is the summary of what we learned last time. Ugh, God, can we skip this? We cannot. Okay. Until you can do that, even if you understand it mentally, there's no way to confirm whether both A and B selves exist.
Well, that is just about right. To pick up from there,
Sora said in a matter-of-fact tone,
as you have just been saying, until a being existing in the second dimension removes themselves from the second dimension and views it from the third dimensional space above, that person will never fully be able to grasp the second dimension. When the individual gets out of the second dimension, only do they realize that there is another branch of the Y. And realize too that there is another you who took a different who took a different branch of the Y. Let's try to pull this together. In order to fully aware of one's dimension, one must view it from the next dimension n+1. Of course, this also applies to three-dimensional space. For a person to be fully aware of the third dimension, he or she needs to enter the fourth dimension. In other words, for you to realize that there is another of yourself that has been branched off, you must get into the fourth dimension and look down into the third dimension. In this case, the fourth dimensional space becomes a type of Minkowski space, but let's not get into that. So with this, I think I have gotten you to understand that there can be different versions of yourself with different histories, in different worlds and existing in different spaces. You are omnipresent in the world, and in the same way, so am I. You and I, we are just branches of the Y. However, these divided selves can become one. If the self you don't know were to become inseparably bound with you, you could stand in a place where you could see and understand all the others that were you. Then all the experiences of your other selves would become like your own experiences. So in the truest sense, you'd become one.
I let out a long sigh. Listen, can I ask you just one thing?
Please do.
Why are you telling me all of this?
That is a good question.
And I'm gonna skip. Okay. Anyway, and then without sound, she vanished. Alright, so it's 7:43 p.m. For a while, I just stood there, lost in thought. There was doorbell ditching and dining and dashing. I figured there wasn't a phrase like chat and run or debate and dash. But that was exactly what Sora had done to me. Oh well. Letting out a sigh, I made for the exit. As I walked, I reflected back on what Sora had said. Clones and dividing selves, walking in different times, simultaneous copies of Sora, the ubiquitous Sora. I wondered if Sora was just trying to say that everything was all the same. So maybe Sora, with all of her incomprehensible and special attributes, not having one single self was really not all that different. I wondered if that was what Sora wanted to say. I wasn't sure. But I didn't see much use in thinking any more about things that I didn't understand. And then, squish. My foot came into contact with something soft. Wow, okay. It felt as if I were stepping on a person. Uh-oh. That's not a person, is it? The back of my feet was standing on the kid's small back. Hey, kid, are you alright? I knelt down next to him and raised his body up. Oh, look, it's the kid. It's like the actual kid. The kid that we thought we were this whole time, remember? Oh, there he is.
Huh? Takeshi.
What do you mean, Takeshi? What are you doing collapsed in a place like this?
Place like this?
The kid bounced up like he had been shocked.
Oh yeah. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden my head hurt and I fell down here.
Your head? That could be bad news.
No, I'm alright. I think a little sleep refreshed me.
You sure? You sure you're fine?
Yeah, but my back kinda hurts.
I decided not to tell him I'd been stepping on it.
And I'm starved. My stomach won't stop growling.
I see. Well, if you got an appetite, then you're probably okay, but maybe you should have Sora take a look at you? Healthy people don't just get headaches and collapse all of a sudden. Hey, are you listening to what I'm saying?
What? Takeshi, don't worry so much. I said I'm fine. Just a little anemic, that's all. And if it's not that, then I'm probably tired or hungry. Anyway, the only thing that hurts right now is my back.
Yeah, and I can't bring myself to tell him that I've stepped on it.
But enough about that, let's get to the kiosk. I'm starving.
Saying that, the kid made for the exit, walking briskly. Shrugging, I watched him go. Alright. It's 7:48 p.m. I was famished as well, but there was one more place I had to go before I went to the kiosk. Of course, it was to see Tsugumi. Her surgery was finished a long time before Sora's talk with W and Y over 7 hours before. I asked Sora about Tsugumi's condition. It required a total
of 40 stitches and will take 2 months to heal completely. And it will take her a few more months to be able to walk normally. Until a rescue team arrives at Leimu, we can get her out of here. She's going to have to rest.
We were lucky that there was no damage done to her brain or organs. Only her right thigh was injured. Maybe only wasn't the best way to put it. In any case, she had a complex fracture and a severed artery, and if we had taken any longer to treat her, she might have died from blood loss. I was thankful to you from the bottom of my heart. I entered the infirmary. Tsugumi was sleeping quietly on the bed in the far side of the room. It wasn't the first time visiting her since the surgery. I had been in and out from that afternoon to the evening and again. Thinking about it, it seemed to me that the reason Sora had suddenly called me and explained the whole W and Y thing had probably been to take my mind off of Tsugumi. Her condition hadn't changed. I think I can skip this. No, I can't. Oh. I wonder why. She looked peaceful as she was breathing steadily. The white blanket was covering her and her foot peeked out from underneath it. She had a cast and bandage wrapped around her right leg. It looked painful. The smell of medicine continued to assault my nose. The scene was fairly raw, with traces still visible of where blood had been wiped away. I reached my hand under the blanket and gently took Tsugumi's palm into my hand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All I could do was repeat that mantra over and over to the resting Tsugumi. 8:29 p.m. After eating dinner at the kiosk, the four of us, you, Koko, and the kid and myself, moved to the rest area. Oh my gosh, I can't skip anything. The kid. Whoa, wait! Woof, 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 woof. He was chasing Pee-Pee around, weaving through the statues. They looked like they were having fun. You. I'm going to go look in on Sora. And with that, she headed to the control room. Koko? Huh? I didn't see Koko anywhere. I decided to look by the nearby kiosk, but she wasn't there. No one was. I emerged in the corridor. Squinting and looking down the end of the corridor, there was no sign of anyone. Maybe nearby the entrance was the Lemurian ruins. The door was open. I could hear a small splashing sound coming from the area. I entered the room as if it were inviting me in. Oh, special illustration of Koko. Koko was standing in the center of the room. She was standing on a stone that was just above the water's surface, her feet together. Koko. Koko lifted her face. She looked lonely. I approached her. What are you up to? Koko just stood there silently, eyes on the surface of the water. Looking closer, I saw that she was clutching something in her left hand. Then Koko took that something into her right hand and let it loose, tossing it into space. Splish! With a light splashing sound, that something hit and sank in the water. It disappeared amongst the circle of expanding ripples. Splish! Koko threw something again. There was a small spray of water. The light's reflection on the water shook uncertainly. Splish, splish, splish. Just as the waves were about to die away, Koko launched something into the water, but the area was dark and I couldn't see what it was. Hey, Koko? What is that? Koko opened her hand and showed me. In her palm were tiny pebble-sized pellets. I wondered if they were glass. They were transparent and shaped like water droplets. Crystal teardrops, that's what they looked like. It was as if she had a handful of tears. Glass tears? Koko flicked one of them with the tip of her finger. Splish! And that tear sank into the water.
I've been thinking about Sugumin.
Koko said that, ignoring my question.
It's my fault.
What?
Sugumi, she was just trying to save me. She was trying to help me. That's why Sugumi...
Koko's shoulders shook.
Really, I should have been the one who got hurt. No, if Sugumi hadn't saved me, I might have died.
Splish. The tear traced the arc through the air before falling into the water.
Sugumi, I wonder if she's angry.
Don't be silly. Why would Sugumi be angry with you? Even if she was angry with anyone, it would be me. I mean, my carelessness caused everything. I'm the one to blame. I thought that the sadness Koko was feeling was all my fault as well.
No. It's not your fault. It's me. I'm to blame. It's because I wasn't paying attention. That's why Sugumi had to get hurt instead of me.
And Koko let her tears that she was holding fall scattered below her. A burst of white spray erupted from the water's surface below. Wow, those are the heaviest tears I've ever heard of. Anyway.
Takepion!
Jumping off the rock, Koko came bounding into my chest.
I'm going to apologize to Sugumi. I'm going to tell her that I'm sorry. Just real sorry.
Koko continued to bury her face into my chest, crying. Koko's tears seeped through my skin. Well done, sorry. Acidic tears, I'm sorry. Okay, Koko's tears seeped through into my skin, into my core, like rain falling on my heart. Cold rain. The small ripples of water continued to fan out, never disappearing. Alright, 9:13 p.m. Koko and I went to the infirmary. Just, leave this woman alone. Her leg has been pierced. She needs time away from you, chuckle fucks. Anyway, Koko and I went to the infirmary. Inside, the room was silent. We approached Sugumi's bed carefully, so as to not make any sound. Sugumi's eyes were wide open. She turned her face towards us. What? We came to see how you're doing. How are you? Same as I look. No more, no less. I see. Is that all? No, I didn't know what to say or how. I didn't know how to say what had to be said. I didn't think that just saying I'm sorry and bowing my head would get my feelings across. I wanted to choose my words carefully, but...
I came because I want to apologize to you, Sugumi.
Koko opened her mouth before I could speak. Apologize?
Yeah, because you were trying to help me. So that's why I have to say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And besides that, I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say sorry and thank you. Sorry, thank you, Sugumi.
Koko's voice shook and she almost sobbed as she tied her words together. You silly girl. Sugumi's expression hinted at a smile. Koko, you don't have to say thank you. Of course you don't have to apologize either. Because you didn't do anything wrong, Koko.
But...
Please, don't look so sad, alright? Sugumi extended one of her arms from the bed. She touched her palm to Koko's cheek. Everything happened because it was supposed to. It's no one's fault. I'd never seen Sugumi be so nice and so gentle. Her piercing gaze and sharp tongue, they could have belonged to an entirely different person. For an instant, I wondered what would have happened if I had come to see her alone. Maybe Sugumi was opening up to Koko. Hey Koko, try to remember that time and what happened. Who asked Koko to hold the pipe?
It was
me. I asked you to. So the reason that you were standing there is because I told you to. So it was my fault.
That has nothing to do with it.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't. So that would mean that pushing you out of the way and all those scrap materials falling was nobody's fault, right? That's what the cause and effect of things work. That's how the cause and effect of things work. If you look for the cause, it just leads everywhere to no end. The cause of the cause of the cause, chasing after that and thinking in that way is kind of pointless, right? That's why I said what I did. That's why I did what I did. Everything happens because it was supposed to. Besides, what I did helped minimize the number of injuries, and I think that was a good decision. I helped you. And I am still alive, so that makes everything okay. Do you see what I'm saying? After thinking it over for a while, Koko nodded without much confidence. It's alright if you don't understand it right now. You're probably still too young to understand it. Anyway, just don't blame yourself. And don't get that sad look either. Sugumi gently pinched Koko's cheek with her fingers. Alright, you got it?
Yeah.
Koko furrowed her brow and gave a solid nod. Looking for a good time to chime in, I finally found my voice. Sugumi had said it was all nobody's fault, but I still felt I had to apologize to her. I was the one that had created the opportunity that made the accident possible. What is it? Sugumi's expression was as mild as before. Sugumi, just as I was about to say I was sorry, the shrill scream of the warning siren rang loudly in my ears. What's that?
Oh no, not more flooding!
Koko's face went pale. Focusing on her eye, at one point on the wall, Sugumi raised her body up. Wait, Sugumi, what are you doing? I'm going to see what's going on. Stupid, you have to rest. You can't go moving around. I am fine. This injury is no big deal. No big deal? You're really something. I can't believe you're so stupid. Just stay here and take it easy. I'll go check things out. But no buts. Got it? I don't want you moving a single millimeter because if you do, you have to deal with me. I put my hand on Sugumi's shoulder and laid her back on the bed. As soon as I figure out what's going on, I'll come back. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Saying that, I jetted out of the room.
Wait, I'm coming too, I'm coming!
I dashed out of the infirmary. I looked to the left and the right. Koko, trailing behind me, grabbed and squeezed my hand.
Take-pyeon, what are we going to do?
Koko sounded scared. For now, we're going to go where everybody else is. I pulled along Koko as I ran. I ran for Dritterstock. I descended the stairs into a blur, and I peeked into the control room, and no one was there. Kicking up water, I sprinted down the corridor. The alarm was still blaring. I strained to listen, but I didn't hear the sound of seawater rushing in or the sound of partitions squeaking under pressure. But there was something that I heard in the gaps between the siren. It sounded like rain, like water droplets pouring down on water and the sound of wind cutting through the sky.
What is that sound?
A winded Koko asked me that. As we were getting close to the sound of the rain, a low sound had drowned out the sound of the siren. Left of the corridor stood a gaping entranceway. Dashing into it, our eyes met with surprising sight. Whoosh. Massive amounts of water rained down from the ceiling. It was the rest area. The whole area was obscured in a fine mist. And smack in the middle of it... Sora-san! Oh my god, this sucks. Why would you have the whole alarm blare when you're trying to water the fucking plants? Oh my god. Anyway.
Sora-san!
Sora was shining like a rainbow. I hate that alarm was so long. Anyway. We worked our way towards Sora through the rain, trying to avoid the moisture as much as possible. Koko and I were already drenched. Sora, what in the world? Sora looked up at the ceiling. I followed her gaze and looked upward. Among the countless drops of mist, something was faintly visible on the other side. Sprinklers? Sora just laughed. She didn't try to answer. Just then... Hey, what's happening? Yu frantically came into the room. She was holding a fire extinguisher in her hands. She already had removed the safety pin and aimed the nozzle. She was ready to let loose with it. I wonder if I can skip this. No, I can't. I can't skip anything. I can't skip anything. Anyway, it was a pretty clumsy looking attempt.
I apologize for causing you undue worry.
You fucking bitch. Okay, listen. Ugh.
I felt so sorry for them, so You felt sorry?
Sora turned her gaze towards the flower beds on the ground. Was this all just to water the flowers? Sora just smiled. She didn't try to explain. She's fucking crazy. Anyway.
There isn't a fire or an explosion or anything like that? Correct. I'm very sorry.
But Sora's face didn't look like she was sorry. Rather, it looked like Sora was enjoying the droplets showering down from the sprinklers.
Geez, don't scare me like that. The monitor in the security room showed a fire alarm, so I came running.
You replaced the nozzle of the fire extinguisher and safety pin. Well, at least it was nothing serious. Better than the alternative, I suppose.
Yeah.
Koko, Yu, and I heaved a sigh and sat down where we were. The sprinklers hadn't stopped. Sora was staring at the flowers with a look of pity. It looked as if the grass and flowers were dancing, reveling in the newfound moisture.
Hey, what happened to Kiddo and Pee-Pee?
I looked around the room. I saw them. Kid and Pee-Pee were still running around the statues. Okay.
It's raining, it's pouring! Woof, 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 woof! The old man is snoring.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
I'm singing in the rain because I like the rain.
Bow wow!
Delicious rain.
He's losing his fucking mind. Alright.
What a glorious feeling, but I don't want to catch a cold. Woof woof. I'm gonna get you now. It's an acid rain shower. Woof 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 woof. I'm singing in the rain. What glorious feeling. Woof woof.
The kid and Pee-Pee were running about in the downpour, screaming out joyfully. It was beyond playfulness. It was close to pathological. I wondered if the kid has finally taken the plunge off into the deep end. I clasped my hands together as if praying for his recovery.
Rain, rain, don't go away, come again some other day.
Bow wow!
Not a sprinkle, but a shower, an excuse to get drenched and skip school.
Is that a thing? Do you skip school when you get wet? Anyway.
Woof! Whoop, whoop, whoop. Delicious rain used to make beer.
Oh no, he really has lost his fucking mind.
Hick, hick, hick. If I drink it, the police will come. Woof, woof, woof. Time to run, gotta escape. And don't forget the umbrella. Woof, 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 woof. I'm singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. Woof, woof. Rain, rain, sweet rain, come again another day.
Alright, thank God we're done with that. We've zipped over. I think we're back to the kid. And I missed the time. But it doesn't matter. So now we're back to the kid, or whoever the kid is now. Whoever that blonde boy is. Anyway, it's raining. I was sitting at the tip of the whale's nose. Sarah was beside me. She covered her head with her hand to keep the droplets from getting her hair wet.
Rain?
You know, it's not rain, don't you? It's just the whale blowing out water. I know that, but it looks like it's raining to me. Water, misty and drizzling, poured upon us from the sky. The stars reflected lights from the water droplets and emitted vibrant colors. We were in the cosmos. The whale was alive. We're back in the whale room, I guess. Anyway, at least it seemed that way to me. A whale swimming by in the starry sky. I'm zipping ahead. Okay, so she's got a lighter and she's gonna show me the pendant. Sarah took the lighter from her pocket and lit it. The shimmering flame colored her face red. She had a pendant in her other hand. Okay, the pendant was shaking in Sarah's small hand. It was the same one that she had showed me in the small room in the warehouse. Hey Sarah, I'm gonna ask you again, but who's that man in the pendant?
I already told you, right?
What? That he's from the sun?
Yeah.
She handed me the pendant and the lighter, and I stared closely at the image. It went without saying, but he seemed to look like a normal person. I had no idea how people from the sun were supposed to look, but the man in the image at least had the face of an earthling. He looked like an ordinary young man to me. Are you serious? He's from the sun? I asked her. You're so gullible, kid. What? There's no such thing as people from the sun. Do you honestly think that life could exist on that ball of fire? So you were lying to me? I wouldn't call it lying. I was just joking with you, you know? Giving you a hard time. What's that supposed to mean? Well, what do you think it means? Sarah stretched out her arm and put out the lighter. Click. The darkness spread across the cosmos. I put the lighter and the pendant together, returning them to her. Just then, Sarah slid down the back of the whale without a word. I hastily followed suit. You can only see the image when you're outside. It's made in a way that it's only visible under sunlight. That's why I said he's a person from the sun. Sarah stood next to the whale and started talking. When I was young, I really believed it. I used to believe that you could only see it with the sunlight because it was made by people who lived on the sun. And because of that, I had this pendant. I was one of their children. And that I was sent to Earth on some kind of mission. I used to imagine stuff like that. Just looking back on it now, I know that those were really just childish fantasies. Wait a second, Sarah. We're 51 meters underwater. Where's the sun? Sarah interrupted me and lit the lighter. Light filled the space around us. The flickering flame, despite the insignificant size, a matter red the color of a sunset shined upon the dome-shaped ceiling. I can read, I swear. A flame. Even without the sun, you can see it if you've got a lighter. It took me a long time to realize it, though. I guess I was like 10 or 11 or so. Really? Sunlight or a flame, huh? But still, even if there is sunlight or flame, there are some people who still can't see it. People who can't see it. Meaning pretty much everybody except me. I'm the only person I found who can see this hologram's image. Well, I thought I was the only one who could see it. But you know, I just met somebody who can also see this image. Sarah pulled out the lighter and the darkness came rushing back. She flicked out the light on and on again and put it out. Lit it, put it out, lit it, put it out. Finally, Sarah spoke. Kid, I'm talking about you. My scar ached, the old scar on my left thumb. Why is it? How come you can see it too, kid? Huh? Why do you think so? Sarah looked upwards into my eyes. She pushed the pendant and the lighter against my chest. Will you look at it again? I took it from her. Striking the flame, I looked closer at the pendant. A weak 3D image rose dimly before me. It was a man I hadn't seen before. Looking at it that closely, I realized that a piece of the mirror was missing. A scar on my thumb, a piece that to be filled in. I started to suspect the truth of the matter. Do you remember anything? Does anything ring a bell? No, not really. I was starting to realize, but I shook my head. My scar was itching as though an electric current were running through it. Oh. Sarah dropped her shoulders in disappointment. The man in the image? I have a feeling he's my dad. What? You think he's your father? Yeah. Me and my Oni-chan's dad. Oh, we zip back. It's 1:53 a.m. We're looking at Koko. We're back to being Takeshi. Okay.
Daddy! Daddy! Hey, Dad!
What happened? Why is Koko calling Takeshi dad?
Daddy, won't you listen to me?
Well, let me tell you, because I'm not your dad, that's why.
A girl who doesn't have a daddy can call somebody who reminds them of her daddy a daddy.
It's like, no, they cannot, young child, they cannot, you 14-year-old child. No, I'm sorry. Don't be doing this. Anyway.
It's written in the preamble of the Constitution, isn't it?
You don't say. Well, I've got 3 things to tell you. First, as far as I know, not one line in the Japanese Constitution corresponds to what you just said. Second, I'm not even close to being fatherly. Third, you've already got a dad who's still alive and well. So stop calling me Daddy, Koko.
Oh, come on. I just want to call you Daddy. Come on, can't I?
This is problematic. Forget it. I'm already taking a big hit with this stupid nickname, Takepyeon. Don't make me put up with another nickname like Daddy on top of it.
Oh, you're so mean, Daddy.
I told you not to call me that. Arrgh. Koko growled as she glared at me. Grrr. I wasn't going to give in either. Koko and I stood face to face to each other on the verge of an outburst. As we stood there, I couldn't help but thinking to myself, how in the world did I end up in such a situation? It had all happened 30 minutes earlier.
Hey, Takepyeon, wake up. I can't go to sleep. Come play with me.
While saying that, Koko shook my body hard, pried open my eyelids, poured salt water into my eyes, and even shoved hydrogen peroxide up my nose. Giving in to her dogged persistence, I reluctantly decided to keep her company. Koko was still growling at me.
You're going to let me call you Daddy.
She was just being outrageous.
If you won't, I'm gonna bite you.
Hump! Koko chomped down on my arm. Ow! I can't believe you actually bit me! I forcefully pried her off my arm. There were teeth marks on my arm, and the area started to burn a purplish red.
Well, I believe it.
Koko covered her mouth with her fist and giggled triumphantly. Why on earth do you want to call me Daddy anyway?
Because you seem like the daddy type to me.
These are sentences that I'm saying that the game is making me say. I hate it. I hate Koko. Anyway. Yeah. You're telling me after you trap me into this that a 20-year-old guy like me seems like a daddy type? You're telling me that I look old?
Nope. Just that kind of thought you did somehow.
Somehow, huh? Well then, are you trying to say that your dad and I are alike?
Nope, not at all. My dad is a lot better looking than you and smarter too.
I shouldn't have been yelling at her by then, but I just couldn't bring myself to get angry with her. Because all the while, Koko was dancing around like crazy, shaking her hips and waving her arms in front of me. I guess you could say I was too distracted to be angry with her. By the way, you said your dad is on a business trip right now, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where did he go?
He's at the research laboratory under the ocean.
A research laboratory under the ocean?
There's a research laboratory called EBF or something down below Lemu. My dad is a researcher there. Oh, but you've got to keep it a secret, okay?
I didn't know why, but for some reason it didn't surprise me. As a matter of fact, it seemed perfectly logical to me. It felt as if I had already known about it. It was just a feeling, but... Then you must be worried, right? I mean, about your dad. I asked Koko.
Why?
Well, I mean...
Oh, I got it. You thought my dad might be trapped here just like us, don't you? But don't worry, he's fine. I know he got out safely.
What? How do you know that?
I just do. Because I'm psychic.
What?
Well, it's the kind of telepathy or clairvoyance or precognition or postcognition.
Meanwhile, she wants to keep calling me daddy like she's saying all these big words, okay. Huh.
Anyway, my dad's okay. I can just feel it.
Koko had a big smile on her face. She was still performing her wacky dance.
What else? Oh yeah, I can bend spoons too. I tell the spoon to like, come on, just give in and bend, and it does.
Oh, I see.
Do you want to know why I can do that kind of stuff? I'm actually a Solarian, a person from the sun. A Solarian is born with psychic abilities. That's why. But my dad and mom are Earthlings, so I'm the only Solarian here.
Oh, I see. Wow, that's great. I couldn't find anything else to say. The powerful microwaves that Koko produced had shaken my brain and fried it. My consciousness started becoming hazy as if I had been in bed for 3 days with a high fever.
I love the sun because I'm a Solarian. When I bathe in the rays from my homeland, I get all warm and toasty inside. Ah, I wish I could see the sun. I wish I could sunbathe. Hey, Takepyeon, I want to go sunbathe.
Well, that's kind of hard to do right now.
I know, but I want to. I haven't seen the sun for 3 days, you know. Don't you want to sunbathe, Takepyeon?
I try to imagine a high, clear blue sky, a nice May breeze, the horizon, the sun shimmering on the ocean surface. It had only been 3 days, but for some reason the scenery from the world outside felt far away. I couldn't wait to go outside to the surface. Yeah, now that you mention it, I do want to sunbathe, but we just don't have that option right now. Besides, it's midnight anyway.
No! I want to sunbathe, I wanna!
Alright, we can do it tomorrow? Someone will probably have rescued us by then anyway.
No, I want to do it right now! Sunbathe, sunbathe, sunbathe!
Koko! There was no way I was going to let that outburst go. I gave her a look that said, I'm about to get angry. And Koko responded with,
Oh, alright. I won't ask anymore.
Her shoulders drooped sadly.
Instead, let's
what?
Let's play chicks.
What?
Play chicks! Pew, pew! Play chicks! Pew, 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 pew!
Earth to Koko, would you mind telling me what you're talking about?
Okay, I'll explain. Playing chicks is an elegant, aristocratic game developed in 1642 by Louis...
Oh my god, I'm not good at this.
14th of France. The rules are simple. All you have to do is imitate a chick and walk around. And the winner of the one that mimics the chick or becomes most like a chick is the person who acts like a chick and wins. And that's what playing chicks is all about.
A few minutes later. Oh, we have a special illustration of a broken child.
Pew, pew, pew!
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew!
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew!
Pew, 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 pew.
Pee!
P. Dear father and mother, how is everything with you? I'm currently playing chicks 34 meters under the surface of the ocean. Playing chicks is an elegant game developed by Louis XIV. You win if you can mimic a chick the best. You flap your arms and wings and peck at the garbage that has fallen in the corridors. Sometimes you even trip and fall like a cute newborn baby chick to compete to see who looks most like a chick. The sounds used basically consist of 3 sounds, P, yo, and N, but you get better. Flap, 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 flap.
Furu, 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 poso.
You can use imaginative sounds and even express yourself with various little chickadee gestures. Since I'm only a beginner, I can only use P, yo, and N so far, but I'm working hard to become a full-fledged chick. No, I mean a full-fledged chicken like mom and dad.
Pew, 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 pew.
I'm learning from an excellent teacher. Oh, I don't know why, but I'm shedding tears.
Pew, 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 pew.
My teacher is encouraging me. It's all right. I'm fine.
Pion, 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 pion.
My teacher wags her hips left and right as she walks. Sometimes she even flips her hips up into the air. She is the epitome of chickness. Father, mother, my teacher is the best chick mimic in Japan. No, the world. Oh, but teacher, you don't have to take a dump in the middle of the floor.
Pew, pew.
My teacher is angry with me. It's because I spoke the human language. Pion, 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 pion. That meant I'm sorry in chick language. Pion, 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 pion. It must be very hard for you to imagine your own son playing chicks 34 meters under the ocean. Or I suppose you probably don't believe that I'm doing this in the first place, but I suppose I can't blame you. I would never have dreamt that I would be doing this in this situation up until 3 days ago. How interesting life is. How sad we humans are. Oh, there I go, crying again. Before the ink on the paper starts to run, I will put the pen down. Well, dear father and mother, please take care of yourself. Pio, pio. Pio Pio.
Pio Pio!
That was the end of our game of chicks. Needless to say, Koko won the game. Koko shouted with happiness and flashed a triumphant smile.
I won! I won!
Anyway, it was over. I exhaled a long sigh of relief. It's 2:46 in the morning. Are you happy now? Let's go get some sleep now.
Okay!
Koko and I started to walk. Koko held my hand. Her hand was so very small. Daddy, huh? I thought to myself. Koko had wanted so badly to call me Daddy. But it seemed that she had forgotten all about it. I was relieved. But at the same time, I felt a bit lonely. Daddy, huh? I repeated the word to myself again. I had mixed feelings. Koko and I went to the infirmary hand in hand. It was Koko's turn to use the bed in the infirmary that night. We were in front of the door, and for some reason you was standing there.
I saw you guys!
You had a grin on her face.
Pio Pio, huh? What was that all about? Oh, I'm embarrassed just thinking about it.
Of course, the one who was embarrassed was me. Burning hot blood surged from the pit of my stomach to my head, and all of a sudden my face felt like it was engulfed in flames. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, right, Koko?
I know what she's talking about.
Ugh!
You're talking about how we were playing chicks, right, Naku? If you were watching, you should have joined us.
Huh? Nah, I'm glad I passed, thanks.
Why?
I don't know, it's just...
Oh, I know, we can play another game right now.
Now? No. It's alright, really. Besides, it's really late, you know?
Well, I suppose you're right.
You wiped the sweat that had appeared on her forehead with the back of her hand.
Okay, well, I suppose I'll wait until tomorrow then.
Tomorrow?
Yahoo! I get to play chicks with Naku tomorrow.
Koko ran off to the infirmary, gesturing like a chick. You and I were left standing there. We stared at each other. Well, you see, she had fun, okay?
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I'm not really into that kind of stuff.
Me neither! Yu was frowning, but her face started to soften as I watched. Yu was trying hard not to laugh by pressing her hand against her mouth. She was probably recalling my antics from earlier. I had a bad feeling. Hey, Yu, I got a favor to ask.
Huh?
Can you just forget what you saw tonight?
How do you expect me to forget that?
Well, I suppose... Then you don't have to forget it, but would you at least keep it a secret from Tsugumi, Sora, and the kid?
Well... I guess I could keep quiet about it, at least for a while.
For a while?
You never know when it might come in handy.
I understood. She wanted to use it to blackmail me.
So anyway, Kuranari-kun, you get my drift, right?
Yu patted me on the shoulder and walked away. I had no idea what she would ask of me, but I knew she had me where she wanted me. Out of the other 5, she was the biggest pain. I shook my head with a sigh and opened the infirmary door. It was dark inside the room and I could barely see anything. Still, I heard the breathing of 3 sleeping people. Although I couldn't see any of them, I could tell who was sleeping where. The injured Tsugumi was sleeping on the bed at the end of the room. The kid was just sleeping on the examination table. Koko was using the bed in the middle, which meant that I would be sleeping in the decompression chamber under the infirmary. About 90 minutes earlier, I had actually been sleeping there before Koko shoved hydrogen peroxide up my nose. Yu, it seemed, had lined up some chairs in the conference room and had gone to sleep on them. Okay then. I headed down towards the lift in the back of the room. I stopped briefly to check in on Koko. I went up the bed in the middle of the room, and although she had been so excited a little while earlier, Koko seemed to be in a deep sleep already. I suppose she's exhausted from all that playing. Koko rolled over and scratched her cheek with her fingers. Her blanket had slightly fallen off of her. Fixing her covers, I touched her hair gently. Koko mumbled softly in her sleep.
Daddy.
I don't know which dad she was referring to, but I couldn't help smiling.
Daddy. Oni-chan.
What?
I'm so cold. Please, Let me out of here. Help me, Oni-chan.
Ooh, she's cold and sweaty in the chamber now. Special illustration of her laying down in pain.
Help me, Oni-chan.
Alright, so we've zipped back. Okay, I'm gonna stop it here and stitch those videos together, but thank you for joining. This is starting to get weird. Wow, what a great time. Anyway, tune in next time for hopefully the end of this. I don't know how long this goes. I forgot. I still have like one decision to make, so it might be another hour or so. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.